Ukraine's allies making good on their promises. NATO has reported that more than 98% of combat vehicles promised to Kyiv have been delivered.
Overall, through the contact group led by the United States, NATO allies and partners have provided unprecedented support to Ukraine. More than 98% of the combat vehicles promised to Ukraine have already been delivered. That means over 1,550 armored vehicles, 230 tanks and other equipment, including vast amounts of ammunition. In total, we have trained and equipped more than 9 new Ukrainian armored brigades. This will put Ukraine in a strong position to continue to retake occupied territory.
Meanwhile, President Zelensky has called on the UK to take a lead role in forming what he calls an air coalition to help Ukraine receive military aircraft. That's after a meeting in Kyiv with Britain's National Security Advisor, Timothy Barrow. On the ground, 1 person was killed and 23 others injured after Russia shelled the southern city of Mykolaiv. Mr. Zelensky tweeted that private houses, a historic building and a high-rise building were targeted in that attack. For more, Shelby Wilder joins us live. She's in Kyiv. Shelby, talks of a potential counteroffensive from Kyiv as soon as next month. Once NATO has fulfilled its weapons deliveries, what's the situation on the ground, though, and where specifically have all these weapons been deployed?
Yes, well, just adding to what the NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said today, now that the NATO allies and partners had delivered the majority of the promised combat vehicles and military equipment, Stoltenberg said that this puts Ukraine in a stronger position to try and retake territory from Russia ahead of their highly anticipated spring counteroffensive. But in regards to where some of this military equipment will be going, well, for example, the tanks and armored vehicles will be going to the front lines. We know that Ukrainian troops have trained in numerous Western countries on these tanks and armored vehicles. For example, training on the German Leopard tanks in Poland, training on the British Challenger 2s in the UK, and soon Ukrainian troops will be training on the US Abrams tanks in Germany. And otherwise, something like the highly coveted US-made Patriot air defense missile systems, that's providing a shield for Kyiv because the nation's capital frequently comes under bombardment by Russia and will help protect civilians here in the nation's capital.
All of the aid and assistance that the Ukrainians have been getting, notwithstanding from outside, Shelby, what challenges do the troops now face?
Well, the Ukrainian troops still need ammunition. I mean, Ukraine's military continues to plead for ammunition. That's because they are burning through thousands of rounds of really artillery shells per day, particularly in somewhere like the highly contested city of Bakhmut in the Donetsk region in the east of Ukraine. So we continue to hear pleas for that. And otherwise, separately, President Zelensky continues to call for modern fighter jets. Ukraine and Ukrainian's Air Force has asked in particular for the U.S. F-16s. And I recently spoke with one of the most famous fighter pilots in Ukraine. He goes by the call sign Karaya. And he said that they are currently operating on outdated machinery on these MiG-29 planes. Those are from the 1980s. They said that if they received these modern fighter jets, it would give them air superiority and it would change the outcome of this war. But there has been no word in regards to supplying Ukraine with those modern fighter jets. Otherwise, that's the latest from me here on the ground in Kyiv.
Shelby, thank you for that update. Shelby Wilder there speaking to us live from Kyiv.